is going to Visine you other than your wife? Do you think she's doing it to entertain herself sometimes?
Well, I got Visined, I know, by a restaurant here.
What?
Yes, totally.
No, Frank, you could take a break.
No breaks. I feel reborn. I'm like a phoenix rising from Arizona.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight, he doing nothing but running his mouth.
Not gonna lie, gang. Got a little nervous this morning sitting here in the Pella Windows and Doors showroom out here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. We'll be here all day here on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. But I got here and I didn't see the big old truck in the parking lot. And I thought that is odd because my guy Chew is always early. And I am not. So I pull in and I go, does Chewy know that we're in Brookfield today? Does Chewy know that we're on remote today? Does Chewy know not to go to the studio downtown?
Well, Joshy got me the text about 6, right, Joshy?
That was around right around when I texted you.
So I had time. I'm about 14 to 16 minutes from here.
Wait, hold on a second.
Yes.
First of all, I can't hear you in my ears, so I got to work on that. 2, had you not gotten the text message from Joshy at 6 a.m., I think it was like 5 a.m., 5:49 a.m., would you have gone downtown?
No.
Okay.
At first I was. And then I woke up, had a cup of coffee, looked at the clock, and I was like, okay, I can stay here a little longer because I'm going out to Pella. So had to gas up, left at 6, gassed up. I'm 15 minutes away. I get halfway here.
I was going to say, left at 6, and I'm thinking to myself, you live just down the street.
So I took my time gassing it up, you know. I just put it on like 1 click instead of the full 3 to gas it up. So I got halfway here, and I'm like, it's 6:21. And I'm like, what am I doing? So my wife's office is about 3 miles from here. And we just had it landscaped. So I'm like, you know what? I will go there, water the bushes, because Jen's going to show up like she does at the station at about 3 till 7. I did not anticipate you
dirty laundry.
being here early.
Okay.
So I went there, watered, and I thought you had – where's the Jeep?
Chase has the Jeep.
Chase has the Jeep. So I pull in. I didn't see the station vehicle, and your Tahoe didn't register with me because I'm like, she's in the Jeep. So I'm like, I'll sit in here and do some text. And then Joshy calls me about 10 till. I'm like, this is a little late for the production call. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, sitting outside. Well, Jen is very nervous. I'm like, now you know how we feel every day when it's 2 minutes till 7.
First of all,
and you
saunter
into the studio.
I am going to show up. You know I'm always going to be there, especially if I am on the conference call. Now, tomorrow, big guy, I will not be in studio. I will be in Bristol. I got some stuff to do in Connecticut, but we're still going to convene for the show. So, listen.
So what does that mean for me, though? Can I still show up at 5 till 7, or is there going to be a production call?
I should have known that was the most important thing. What does that mean for me?
Well, here's what you said yesterday, that you have to do makeup before the show.
I know.
So what time will you be out of the makeup chair, and will there be a production call?
I will throw my headphones on in the production chair so that we can still get our call in. But, yeah, I got makeup tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Central. Yeah. That is exactly the correct response to that information. Ugh. Long day of work tomorrow, but it's all good. Happy to be contributing. So we are here at the Pella Windows and Doors showroom in Brookfield. Joshy's saying we are a little up on the. We need to go down. I know I'm talking to our crew here, who are handling the audio. If you guys are thinking we're a little hot out there on the airwaves, we'll get that taken care of as soon as possible. But we are here at the Pella Windows and Doors showroom all day long, promoting our good friends over at Pella. You should come on down. The whole idea of us being out here is to get you guys in here. Schedule a consultation. Is today July 10th?
Today is the 10th.
Great. If you schedule a consultation today in person on the phone or online, you have a chance to win big prizes. Raffles every 2 hours. We got Brewers tickets, game-worn jersey, Badgers tailgate, State Fair, Green Bay tickets, etc. And there will be $2,000 off a purchase of $5,000 or more if your appointment is held before July 31st. So a lot of incentive to get in here to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. We are at... What is the address here? We're on Blue Mound.
This used to be the old Golf Galaxy.
Oh, that is very helpful.
Yeah,
that's very helpful.
I used to come here all the time.
19030 West Blue Mound Road in Brookfield, Wisconsin. So get on down here now. I just lost audio in my ears. So it's a work in progress here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. Chew, did you get a chance to see the Brewers beat the Dodgers yesterday? They were down late, major comeback, and then go on to win in extra innings. And this is the first time, I believe, in Wisconsin that the Brewers have swept the Dodgers.
I actually turned it on in the bottom of the ninth, and I forgot who.
Had they already tied it up at that point?
No. I forget who hit the leadoff single, but I'm like, ooh, this is getting a little spicy.
Was it my guy Vaughn?
No, it wasn't. I forget who it was, but I was like, they're going to wind up pulling this out. But where do you think I immediately go to? I go to they sweep the Dodgers. Is that good for the playoffs? Because my rule of, in the NFL, it's different. It's very difficult to beat a team 3 times within a season. So, I mean, that's my rain on the parade for today. But that's how my brain works. Because I don't think they won't face them again, will they?
I just want to make sure that I'm following you. Your concern about sweeping the Dodgers in July is that if these two teams meet again in the postseason, you think the Dodgers will have the upper hand.
Yeah, I don't. That's the superstition in me.
Okay.
Because you hear me say that in football, and you hear more people than me say it's very tough to beat a team 3 times within one season.
Sure. But isn't there any value when we talk about pros and cons, positives and negatives? Isn't there any value to getting the sweep, to build that confidence, build that belief that you can hang with the best team? Again, everybody keeps talking about, the Dodgers they're banged up. They got some guys on the IL. I saw a fascinating stat that said they've got more money on the IL right now than the Brewers have on the field.
That's crazy. They still come on. You still got Mookie. You've got Freddie Freeman. You got Shohei. I mean, they still had the meat of their roster. No, that's a hell of a sweep. But the superstition in me is like, okay, we'll see how it plays out in the playoffs. And the other one is like, come on, the wins are great, but I like them under the radar. Now they're not going to be under the radar so much because of this sweep. And with Passan saying what he did this past week about, they're 1 hitter away from, he believes, competing for the World Series. So, no, it was a great series. Great confidence builder. The lineup looks great, the pitching lineup. So, you know what? I will start, because normally I don't start till after the All-Star game as it gets closer to playoffs to really dial in. But now it's just fun. They're kind of a fun team to watch.
Oh, very fun.
Woodruff, we want to see if his one start is sustainable, and he's going to get back to old form. Freddie's obviously an all-star. And the Miz right now is kind of must-watch TV.
For what it's worth, a little housekeeping here. It was Andrew Vaughn who singled on a line drive to center field. That tied the game up at 2 in the 9th inning, and then they pushed it to extras. In extras, it was Jackson Chourio. It's so
That's your guy, though, right?
Vaughn?
Yeah.
Well, so the only reason he's my guy is because there's all this talk about the Brewers going out and getting a bat by the trade deadline. And we had Jeff Passan on Wilde and Tausch. If you missed that conversation, you can find it on ESPN Wisconsin's app. He said there's not a lot of great options out there. And we always talk about how just because you're thirsty for lemonade, don't go out and bite a lemon.
Sure.
You want to get somebody who is actually a good fit, who can be productive for you, and you're not overpaying for it, right? We're going to talk about the salary cap suggestion by Rob Manfred a little bit later in the show. But the bottom line is the Brewers are always fighting the haves versus the have-nots. So nobody wants to bankrupt the farm system. Nobody wants to go out and give away assets. The Brewers like to hold on to these pieces because they believe in their development. So could Andrew Vaughn be that bat? Chewy, you keep going back to where he was drafted, what was expected of him. We talked about his 72 home runs in the first 4 years of his career, and then he hit the skids, and then he stunk. Right?
Yeah.
So the White Sox were like, fine, take him. We'll take Savali, you take him. And it looks like the change of scenery, again, small sample size. It's only been a series. But he's going to get a lot of time to play because of the injury to Rhys Hoskins. So there's a part of me that says, why not Vaughn?
Yeah.
Maybe Vaughn can be the guy who finds lightning in a bottle for this second half of the season and is actually the bat that the Brewers needed. And I tweeted it out yesterday saying it's a small sample size, but man, his production over the last 3 games certainly is making the Brewers look smart. So, but Jackson Churio is the guy who had the walk-off.
Yeah.
We've spent so much time in the last, month or so talking about Jacob Mizorowski. We've almost forgotten that Jackson Churio is even on this team.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know what I mean? And when you think about the offense and the lineup, we shouldn't be overlooking Jackson Churio because he obviously can be a difference maker as well. It's a very exciting time, as we have mentioned, to be a Milwaukee Brewers fan. But I like this angle that you're taking, Chew, about would you rather be flying under the radar? Would you rather be chasing the Cubs, little distance between you and the top team in the division. Maybe you're on the outside of the wild card race looking in, and then in September, drop it down into another gear and start shooting past those teams? Or are you capable of having a target on your back as one of the hottest teams in baseball now? People, Murph is doing interviews on MLB Network. Like, are you okay with that if you're a Brewers fan?
I'm okay. I mean, it's a little early to use the word start getting hot, and we always go back to the NFL. You want to get hot week 14, 15, 16 and then make a run there. Look, they're going to go through ebbs and flows. They're going to get swept at some point in time by someone. They're going to lose 5 or 6 in a row. It's just weathering that storm, keeping everyone, the wild card and the Cubs within striking distance as we get closer to the end of the season. So, no, I have no problem where they're at. But back to Vaughn, I mean, we'll roll it back to the NFL. Look what a change of scenery did for, like, Sam Darnold last year, or Alex Smith, another one. In San Francisco, he was kind of meh, and then he goes to Kansas City and plays pretty well. Obviously, Mahomes comes along. But his career got better with changes of scenery, and he could be the guy. Because he's hot right now. He's playing very well. So if they didn't do anything at the trade deadline because there's no one out there, it won't bother me. But the teams you have to eyeball, like the Red Sox, 5.5 out. What do we have, another 3 weeks to a month of the trade deadline? Those are the teams you got to eyeball, the high salary teams that are going to do their dump. Mm-hmm. I don't want a Juan Soto or someone, or like a Sabathia. They don't need it. You know how they mortgage the future to get him. But adding another quality bat, more of a guy that can hit dingers. Because aren't they at the bottom of the list when it comes to dingers?
I mean, I think they are one of these scrappy teams yet again. They've got a little bit of power, but I think they're one of these teams that they just get on base.
Yeah.
Right? They get on base. They move guys around. That's kind of what Murph is implementing with this version of this team. What was bigger, sweeping the Dodgers or getting within a game and a half of the Chicago Cubs? Obviously, both things happened yesterday with the outcome with the sweep. But what do you think is bigger for your psyche going forward? I love this idea of change of scenery. I kind of want to hit on that as we continue going on, the psychology of change of scenery and why there are so many guys who perform well when they go elsewhere. But 800-990-3776. That's the Carbless Talk and Text line. You can text into the show. You can call into the show. You can also get us on the YouTube stream at ESPN Milwaukee. What was bigger, sweeping the Dodgers, huge, or getting within a game and a half of the Chicago Cubs in the division? We'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Lots of stuff to get to this morning. We are live at Pella in Brookfield. Stop by this morning. We would love to see you here at Pella in Brookfield. We'll take a break. Be right back after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Northbound 41 is backing up basically from Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. The southbound side's just starting to slow down south of Appleton Avenue down to Capitol Drive. Northbound 43 a little heavy right past Hampton, almost up to Silver Spring. Westbound 94 earlier delays that we might have had right through the stadium. Looks like those have dissipated, so we're looking pretty good. Traffic is brought to you by Third Ward Beer Garden. Experience Milwaukee's favorite beer garden this summer. Open Wednesday through Sunday with live music Thursday through Saturday. Good times and great vibes await at Third Ward Beer Garden. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Chance for rain later on. A high of 77 at the lake, 83 inland tonight. Chance of rain or storms, partly cloudy, a low of 67. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
It's Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Upgrade your industrial supply services with Lakeland Supply, your trusted ISO-certified partner for custom packaging, shipping supplies, janitorial, and safety supply solutions. With over 40 years of industry excellence, Lakeland Supply is a proven one-stop source with over 95% of their products made in the U.S., and they treat their customers like family. Personalized service with a national reach. That's what Lakeland Supply does. Visit lakelandsupply.com to discover how they can make your business better.
Kevin Moret here for Mentality. Listen up, gentlemen. You're fighting an unfair battle. Studies show testosterone levels in men have plummeted by 25% in just 2 decades. That's why you're struggling with energy, muscle, and drive. But here's a game changer. Mentality's FDA-approved treatments boost testosterone by 30% on average. Imagine reclaiming the vitality your grandfathers had. Picture turning heads, dominating your career, and feeling unstoppable again. Don't settle for today's normal. Seize the day at mentalityhealth.com/radio. That's mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Get ready to say goodbye to those bland seltzers at the ballpark. Carbless is proudly Wisconsin-born, crafted by real people. A husband and wife team who wanted better cocktails in a can. They're locally made and blissfully better. Carbless offers a bold, true cocktail flavor that's made for baseball fans. Available in fan-favorite flavors like lemon lime, black raspberry, cranberry, and mango, bringing the craft cocktail bar to your seat. Refreshment that matches the energy of American Family Field is Carbless. Full of flavor, no sugar, and no carbs. Just game day bliss.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee's Theater District. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, artist in residence, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Turn those hoop dreams into reality with Precision Sports, your one-stop shop in southeastern Wisconsin for Mega Slam, Ironclad, and Dominator basketball hoop systems. Installation of new or old hoops and completely customizable painted court lines. PrecisionSportsOnline.com.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
Ready, down, put.
All Packers, all the time.
He was a field tilting player, and the reason why Gabe and many others are so concerned is that this guy's on the field, he changes the offensive dynamic. They are a different offense when he is there.
Okay, most of the time.
You know, Homer calls Matt LaFleur soft all the time. Matt LaFleur is like Vince Lombardi compared to me.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Brought to you by Exterior Pros. Ready to tackle your home improvement project this year? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. Visit extpros.com. Also brought to you by Lakeland Supply. Lakeland Supply is in business to make your business better. Set up a free packaging and supply chain assessment at lakelandsupply.com.
Checking in with our friend and teammate Jason Wilde as we continue our day live from the Pella showroom just behind Cops off of Blue Mound in Brookfield. Open all day. Hopefully folks will stop by and check out what Pella has to offer. Good morning, Jason. How are you today?
I'm going to stop by in about an hour.
Oh!
Jason
you guys look
Wilde
great in those Wisconsin-shaped chairs.
en route. I got the rocker. So I got lucky. I got here first, and I thought, if I'm going to pick, I'm going to pick the one that moves a little
It
bit.
might be in the back of my truck after the show.
So, Jason, you may need to find a new seat, I think is what Chewy is saying. Continuing to drop your list of the most important Packers of 2025, I believe we are at number 11, Carrington Valentine. How did you decide that Carrington Valentine was just outside the top 10 on your list?
Yeah, I threw darts. Look, I think the whole purpose of this list is, first of all, to get people thinking about training camp, which is now less than 2 weeks away. We're 13 days out from the first practice. More for me anyway are some of the, whether it's storylines or areas of strength or areas of concern. This is a way to highlight those. And I just think, all three of their top corners are going to be on this list. We had Nate Hobbs earlier. We've got Carrington Valentine today. And in the top 10 is going to be Keyshawn Nixon, who wanted to be CB1, and now he is. And I still, I'd be curious where Chewy is at on this, because I went into the draft thinking they had to go corner. If not in the first round, certainly in the first 2 days. And because I never expected Jair Alexander to be back. And they didn't. And the one thing that I would say feels like an Achilles heel about this defense, yes, we can worry about the edge rushers, and rightfully so. Yes, we can wonder if Kenny Clark will bounce back after a down season with his foot injury. But to me, their depth at corner would make me really nervous given the quarterbacks and the wide receivers that the Packers are facing this season. And the fact that you just don't get through seasons without injuries. And they've got three guys that they really like in Nixon, Valentine, and Hobbs. And then they got a bunch of guys who've never even played on defense. I think this Gregory Jr. guy has like 100 snaps of defense with the Jaguars, which if they had relegation, that wouldn't even count. So I'm really curious to see if there's around training camp or at the final cutdown move that's going to have to be made at this position to add depth, because Kalen King and Micah Robinson and all these guys that most Packers fans have never heard of, if one of these guys gets hurt, they're going to have to play a significant amount, and that would make me nervous. So that's why all three of them are in the top 20.
No, I agree with you, Jason, because if this defensive backfield was the defensive backfield for the Detroit Lions or the San Francisco 49ers or the Eagles, you'd be fine, right? The problem that gives you a little trepidation is obviously the D-line the Packers have, so I'm 1,000% with you there. Jason, will Ed Policy be closer to Bob Harlan or Mark Murphy? And why I say this, Bob Harlan just oversaw really the financial side, and he never got involved on the football side, whereas Murphy did, and I thought he mingled a little too much. What do you think, Ed Pollard? Yeah. Who do you think he'll be closer to?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the fact that Ed Policy told us when we sat down with him a couple weeks ago in the alumni suite that he intends to have more meetings with Goody, Russ Ball, and LaFleur than Murphy was. He said he sees himself as a facilitator. I do think that the whole idea that there would be fewer silos under this structure proved to be incorrect. I think they're just as silo-y as they were before. So I don't know if Ed Policy is going to be, more aggressive in terms of trying to tell people what to do in their jobs. I think he has some of Bob's qualities. I know that, and here's one of the things I like about Ed. Ed really wants to hear people's opinions, including mine, which is pretty ridiculous. But, like, he spent an extended amount of time with Bob Harlan. And while he did not take Bob's suggestion to answer his own phone the way Bob did and decide to do that, I think he gleaned a lot from his several hours that he spent with Bob. So, and you know, I obviously am biased. I thought Murphy did a phenomenal job business-wise, but I don't think that he had the same feel for the job as Bob did in terms of the football side and letting people do their jobs. So I don't know how Ed's going to approach it, but I do like the fact that he has really tried to, as he enters this job, get lots of people's opinions from lots of different perspectives in an effort to be a better version of himself. Whether that's more like Murphy or more like Harlan, I'm not sure, but I do like the first signs that I've seen from him.
Well, the crazy thing is, Jason, and young Packer fans probably don't know this, his dad was instrumental when he was with San Francisco with what went on here in Green Bay. Because Holmgren came in from San Fran and said, we're not running this like the 80s Packers. We're running this like the 80s and 90s San Francisco 49ers, where Ed's dad, Carmen, was the president.
Yeah, and he did talk a lot about that when we sat with him, the influence that his dad had. I do think, and I'm very curious to see how the next several years will unfold. Like, look, if they go 12-5 and reach the NFC Championship game this season, then everything is hunky-dory. The fact that he came out and said, you know, on the one hand, we're not going to extend Goody and LaFleur before the season, and on the other hand, that he doesn't believe in having coaches and GMs in a lame duck year, I thought that was his way of kind of putting everyone in the building on notice. Like, Goody mind about urgency, put it out there that, look, what they've done the last 2 years is not good enough, and it's time to be even better. And, you know, I could see them, they go 10-7 and they make the playoffs and lose on the road. I could see each of those guys, LaFleur and Goody, getting 1-year extensions like they did with McCarthy in 18. So they're not in a lame duck year, but they don't get multiple years. Because I do think his dad's time with the 49ers, making difficult decisions, including at one point moving on from Bill Walsh, I think that really influenced him a lot. And I do think he learned that sometimes this job requires tough decisions, and you have to make them wisely and with class. And I think if you asked him, he would probably tell you that one of the things he learned was we can't, even on their way out the door, we can't treat people the way we treated Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning head coach, when they fired him a half hour after that game against Arizona.
Yeah, it's really good insight. Jason, we appreciate you. I guess we'll see you in less than an hour here at the Pella Window and Door Showroom of Brookfield, as we are here all day at Pella.
Indeed you will. All right, guys, take care. Be good.
All right, maybe we'll get a chance to chat with Jason again, a bonus Jason today, as he is en route to Pella Window and Door Showroom of Brookfield. We are here off Blue Mound Road, just behind Cops. We'll be here all day, and we'll continue telling you about some of the specials. Not really specials. What is this, like a restaurant? Can you tell me what the specials are? We'll tell you what's going on here at Pella Window and Door at the showroom here in Brookfield. Okay, we got to take a break. We got to get to Adam Schefter. He's coming up next. Chewy is very interested in this alleged collusion that went on in the NFL between the NFL Players Association and some of the owners. We're going to talk to Adam Schefter about that right after this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We have a crash now. It is on the off-ramp to National Avenue from 894 northbound. So heads up with that. We're seeing delays back to Beloit Road with this, so just be careful. Northbound 41, still backing up from Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. Southbound slow from Appleton to Capitol. Northbound 43, backing up just a little bit north of Capitol Drive, heading up towards Hampton. The rest of the system is actually looking pretty good. Traffic is brought to you by Fisco Auto Body. Call Fisco Auto Body to help with all body repair needs. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Chance of rain later on, a high of 77 at the lake, 83 inland. Tonight, chance of rain or storms, partly cloudy with a low of 67. Weather is brought to you by Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more. Easy and affordable apparel personalization with no minimums and fast turnaround for all your printing needs. BigFrog.com/Mequon. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards. They're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel. It's a glow-up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
Thinking about buying or building a new home? Start with a mortgage pre-approval from Great Midwest Bank and experience a state of tranquility. At Great Midwest Bank, we offer fast approvals and flexible options with experienced loan officers who understand the local market, because they live here too. Whether you're breaking ground for new construction or buying that dream home just around the corner, we'll guide you every step of the way. Bank with confidence and start your journey at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
Workplace stress is now a leading cause of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce feeling it more than ever. You can't escape work, but you can take small steps to take care of yourself. A walk, some sun, a favorite song, and therapy. Ongoing support to build resilience for whatever your day throws at you. Balance is tough, but getting help shouldn't be. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout today for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Escape to Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin, where everything is better at the lake. Dive into endless outdoor activities, including boating, fishing, and paddleboarding on the serene Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind in the award-winning Calidora Spa. Enjoy gourmet meals at 1878 on the lake, casual bites at the Lookout Bar and Eatery, and sweet treats at the Isle of Capri Cafe. Explore Delavan Lake's stunning shores and historic landmarks from the comfort of their 76-foot cruise boat, the Lake Lawn Queen. Book your stay today at LakeLawnResort.com.
Ready to escape to a resort that has it all? The Island Resort and Casino is your total thrill getaway, where championship golf, a luxury spa, world-class gaming, and epic entertainment come together. Tee it up at Sweetgrass and Sage Run. Unwind at the Drift Spa. Dine, play, win, repeat. Go all in on an unforgettable getaway. Book your total experience today at islandresortandcasino.com.
Everyone's go-to source for all NFL news.
And we're going to get right to some breaking news here that just came down. This tweet from Adam Schefter.
Adam's on the phone. Adam, you have more news? What do you got?
They're going with another move, and he was the man who knows all, Adam Schefter.
It's ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
I would just say that right now I think all options are on the table. I think that they went through that trade thing and they talked to teams, and it's not like those talks are shut down, but they didn't go anywhere. And when they don't go anywhere, it opens up the possibility that they could be back.
Adam Schefter on JGC is sponsored by Island Resort and Casino. Gaming, casual, and fine dining. 2 golf courses, a luxury spa, and live entertainment. Your total experience is at the Island. Also brought to you by Tony Wendorf and Associates. First Weber Real Estate Services. The real estate MVPs of Wisconsin. Get started today at wendorfteam.firstweber.com.
We love catching up with our pal Adam Schefter. Good morning, Adam. How you doing today?
Good morning, Jen and Chewy. Where are you guys today? Like, what is that setup here?
We are at the Pella showroom in Brookfield, Wisconsin. They're having an all-day extravaganza, and we are kicking it off this morning, encouraging customers to come out to the Pella showroom today and the chance to win some big prizes, some Packers tickets, a Packers game-worn jersey, some game day tickets, things like that.
Need some windows, Adam? We could get you a good deal. Huh? Ship
I
them right out.
A promoter, I didn't even know. Like, I just see you in an unusual setting that is more further away than normal and yellow chairs, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, Chewy said he's going to steal these chairs. Adam, can you see these chairs? They are in the shape of the state of Wisconsin.
Oh,
and
wow.
This is a rocker. Yeah, not bad, not
yeah.
bad. I might fall asleep throughout the show. I did want to ask you, I saw that Bleacher Report threw out a suggestion. It is just a suggestion, no definitive deal in the works or anything, saying that the Packers need to go out and get either Jadeveon Clowney or Rasul Douglas. You know, weigh in on the players if you'd like, but do you get the sense the Packers are still interested in adding this offseason?
You know, I think I haven't heard that they are or aren't, to be perfectly frank. I would just say that what happens here is it's July 10th, and by July 22nd, 12 days from now, every team will have every player in training camp, with the exception of the holdouts. And I think starting next week, and especially the week after, you see teams all of a sudden take stabs on players like a Jadeveon Clowney or Rasul Douglas. I'm not telling you that Green Bay will do that, just to kind of bolster the roster, last-minute additions. And some of these veterans, sometimes, they also opt to sit out the first week or two. They want to see where there are openings, who has an injury, and who cares if you're a veteran? You don't need to go through the first couple of weeks of camp anyway. So there are a couple of ways of looking at this. I just think we're in a little bit of a quieter period right now, and I think these things will start picking up next week with players like that. I have not heard that Green Bay is or isn't interested. I know that when the Panthers went to trade Jadeveon Clowney, there wasn't a lot of interest at that point in time. He's a guy that has been able to rush the passer and be productive in the right systems in recent years. And Rasul Douglas, Green Bay knows pretty well already.
Adam, what can you tell me about this NFLPA collusion findings? Now, I'll give you a little background. And you covered the league at this time. We couldn't stand Gene Upshaw. Most players could not stand him, okay, because we knew he was just a puppet for Paul Tagliabue. So every time, and the only time he started coming to Green Bay is when Reggie showed up. Never showed up before. So when he would come, players would just lay into him, okay? I'm not surprised that this went on one bit. But is anything going to come of this? Because it sounds pretty sleazy to me.
Well, first of all, it's funny. I was on the phone with somebody this morning talking about everything that's going on, and this particular person who's tied into the union side said to me, and I quote, "I really miss Gene Upshaw right now." So I don't mean to make you gag on you,
really?
Chewy, or
wow.
that, but
okay.
That's what somebody said to me this morning. That you know, I've done this for 35 years, so a lot of people you've known for a long period. This guy's like, I know that people have questions about Gene. Not everybody always liked Gene, but right about now, I really miss Gene because Gene, you know, he was around, he was there, and people had their complaints, obviously, but I think Gene did do a lot of good things, and people underrated what he brought to the table as the executive director of the NFLPA. What's going on now just seems to be very messy, very sordid, and everybody's still going through it and trying to figure out exactly where all this is going. This morning, I think you saw that my colleagues, Don Van Natta, Kalen Kaler, they filed a story that's available at ESPN.com that says that Lloyd Howell was approved as a partner in the Carlyle Group a few months before he took over as the executive director of the NFLPA, and the Carlyle Group works with the NFL. So it if nothing else, there's the appearance of a conflict of interest, and whether there's actually a conflict or not is another thing, but there's only the appearance. Not a great look for an incoming executive director. Don Van Natta and Kalen Keller also said that sources say union lawyers asked Hal to consider resigning last week, and he refused. So I think it just tells you that there are a lot of questions. There are people seeking more information right now, and I don't think we've heard the last of this.
So just to be clear, because it's a little bit messy and it can be hard for people to follow. 2 weeks ago, news broke that the NFL had encouraged team owners to limit guaranteed money. There was the Deshaun Watson guaranteed contract. It sounds like that spooked owners, and they were like, whoa, we don't want to deal with that. Let's have a conversation amongst us that we're not going to do that going forward. The newest development, beyond what you just said, the filing from this morning, is that the NFLPA knew about it and sort of decided along with the NFL that they would not discuss it with the players, right? There was this confidentiality agreement between those two sides. But the reason this is messy and the reason that Chewy gets frustrated about this is because the NFLPA is supposed to inform the players of these types of things, right, Chew?
Yes,
they're supposed to have the players' backs. So now if you're a player in the NFL, even if there's always been this sort of like love-hate relationship between the Players Association, now there's all of this mistrust, distrust,
right.
Like you did all this stuff behind the player's back, and that's why it has become, to Chewy's point, why it's become a big, big story.
And I think that one thing that players want and demand, many things, but transparency. All you're looking for is people to be open and honest about what's going on, and I think there are a lot of players who feel like the NFLPA isn't being transparent in these particular situations with a lot of this information. And now that they weren't being transparent then, they're wondering, okay, well, what else is there that we don't know? And I think a lot of people's antenna is up right now.
Adam, do you like the Rams? I see a lot of love with the pundits around the country. Have a lot of love for the Rams. Do you share?
Yeah.
You do?
I'll say that I do like the Rams. I think they're a good team. I think they're one of the better teams in the NFC. I think they're the favorites in the NFC West, so that tells you I like the Rams. I think the team that people are not talking about in the NFC, the team that is better than people realize, a team that people continually are sleeping on, a team that's underrated. And I can't believe they're not generating more commission. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's what I was going to say. I was sitting here going, Buccaneers. And you're always on top of the Buccaneers.
No, I know, but their defense is a little suspect. Wasn't their defense not great last year? I mean, unbelievable offense, and adding Abuka's only going to help, but I thought defense would be a big question mark.
Well, I think, but you've got Todd Bowles there, right, in Tampa.
Yeah, sure.
And he's a defensive-minded coach, which doesn't solve everything. But I'm just opening up their defense here to take a look at like the full defense, right? So on defense, the defensive front, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, 2 stars. I've been told that Hassan Reddick has been tearing it up during OTAs for whatever that's worth at the left outside linebacker spot. Logan Hall is a former high pick. Levante David is somebody you can count on at linebacker. Yaya Diaby's been great. Zion McCollum, they're trying to re-sign. In the secondary, you got Tyke Smith, Antoine Winfield, Jamel Dean.
Yeah, sounds. Yeah,
it's a good defense. The defense I don't believe is the strength. The offense is first rate, and I just think as a team in general, I'm surprised that we haven't gotten more conversation about the Bucs. Like you're asking about the Rams, and I had somebody asking me this morning. Eagles, and people talking about whether the Niners are going to be back, and who in the NFC Central is going to the NFC North is going to emerge. And I just say, like, nobody's talking about the Bucs. I know they lost Tristan Wirfs, their all-pro left tackle yesterday, potentially for a month with that knee injury if he goes on PUP. Yeah, he's a really good player, but I think that team is. I think the Buccaneers are very good. That's
probably the worst division in football, right?
Feels like it's getting more competitive, though.
I don't know. New Orleans is going to be no quarterback. Atlanta's usually Atlanta, and Carolina's still trying to dig themselves out.
The only thing I have here, the one caveat, is the Buccaneers, I think, do they have a tough schedule this season? I was trying to pull it up as we were chit-chatting here.
I don't know if they do because they're playing their division for starters.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Right?
Adam, is Cousins going to get traded?
Chewy, the issue there right now is that there's not a team that needs him. There's not a team that needs a Kirk Cousins. Minnesota traded for Sam Howell. Pittsburgh signed Aaron Rodgers. What other teams were out there that needed a player like a Kirk Cousins? And because that's the case, he may get traded eventually, but I think personally that he's the guy that as soon as there is a quarterback injury for a team that suffers an injury to its starter, if that happens, and hopefully it doesn't, but if it happens, I think that's the first name that's going to pop onto people's lips and become discussed.
And how much do you love your old stomping grounds, Denver? Because a lot of people love them too.
Well, I think that they're a really good team, an improved team. The issue is you're playing in the same division with the Chiefs, who obviously are really good, the Chargers, who I think are going to be even better, and I think the Raiders are going to be much better, much better. That may be, I mean, the AFC West and the NFC North might be the two best divisions in football.
Well, certainly the most improved, even just by, you got Harbaugh out there, you got Carroll out there, you got Peyton out there. I mean, isn't it crazy that that's the division? And then Reed for the head coaches.
Coaching legend,
wow.
coaching royalty in the AFC West.
I did pull up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule. They do have the Eagles on their schedule. They have the 49ers. They have the Lions, and they have Buffalo, and then they've got the Rams. So some tough teams, If you think, and again, to your point, they got Carolina, twice in the last 3 games, so maybe you end on a high note. Like we so often don't do here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Adam, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Sorry, no Gabe. He's off this week, so no golf to chit-chat about. Oh, darn.
Next week's a big week, though.
Gabe will be back for next week.
Jen, I knew as soon as I saw the Gabe show, and that we were sitting in Wisconsin State chairs, I knew that the golf discussion would be limited today. So just on behalf of Gabe, I just want to say that we're all ready for the Genesis Scottish Open this weekend, and we got it tuned in already.
All right. Adam Schefter joins us each and every week here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Adam, have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon.
Have a great week, guys.
I do want to dive into this NFLPA thing with you and just talk about the level of trust that players have with the NFLPA, or at least are supposed to have when they think that they're supposed to have their back and be negotiating in good faith and all of that. We'll get to that as the show rolls on here this morning. If you're wondering where we are at the Pella Experience in Brookfield, and we are inviting you to stop on down. We are just behind Cops. Look, they got all kinds of cool things going on for people who come in today, including, I believe it's $2,000 off your purchase of over $5,000. And that isn't all. We'll continue to tell you all the reasons why you should stop by the Pella showroom today in Brookfield, as 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee will be here all day long. Take a break. Be right back after this.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Baseball is back. Brian Balaga here to bring you a proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. A delicious and perfect pairing for a day at the ballpark. Stocked at American Family Field all season long. Surfside is only 100 calories per serving, and the best part, 0 bubbles. Ask for it at your local bar or liquor store. Surfside, an official partner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Must be 21 years of age. Please drink responsibly.
Kevin Moret here from Mentality. Life's a relentless competition, and you might be losing without even knowing it. With testosterone levels plummeting 25% in just 2 decades, you're likely operating at a fraction of your potential. Your kids sense it when you're too exhausted for playtime. Your wife notices when that spark fades. Here's the harsh truth. Without addressing low T, nothing works. Diets fail, workouts fall flat, but there's hope. Mentality's FDA-approved treatment restores testosterone by an average of 30%. Don't let low T rob you of life's precious moments. Start at mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Modernizing business technology is critical for a positive impact on efficiency and reducing operating costs. That's exactly what Tri-City National Bank found out when they called on James Imaging Systems. Listen to Bank CIO Robert Prang.
We also went through a large retooling of our print environment, changing from where we had almost 200 printers.
All the way down to just 97 printers. That's managed print services from James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed Wisconsin business technology company.
So being able to work with a local company like James that has that flexibility with their staff and being able to deliver for us has given us the ability to make the right decisions for our organization. information.
Robert, would you recommend managed print services from James Imaging Systems?
Yes, in a heartbeat, I would recommend James.
Learn more at jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Ready to escape to a resort that has it all? The Island Resort and Casino is your total thrill getaway, where championship golf, a luxury spa, world-class gaming, and epic entertainment come together. Tee it up at Sweetgrass and Sage Run. Unwind at the Drift Spa. Dine, play, win, repeat. Go all in on an unforgettable getaway. Book your total experience today at islandresortandcasino.com.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I mean, pumpkin seeds.
No, little suckers. They might be. What did you say before, Jen?
Sesame but those
seeds.
are white.
No,
white.
these aren't white. No, this isn't on the outside. This is on the inside.
Seeds on the inside.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you got some sort of
Scrotum.
On 94.5 ESPN.
I'm just a stranger with a twisted smile and a wandering eye. Your heart is in danger. Come close.
We are at the Pella Experience in Brookfield this morning, and we want you to come on down and visit us. If you call in today and mention 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee and book your appointment between tomorrow and July 31st, you will be entered into prize drawings every few hours. We're talking Packers tickets, a Tundra Trio experience, Badgers games, tailgating, a Christian Yelich game-worn jersey, and more. Plus, every appointment run by July 31st is entered to win a grand prize, $2,000 towards your Pella purchase, drawn on August 1st. So call now and don't miss out. There are some restrictions that apply, but we would love to see you out here at the Pella Experience just off Blue Mound Road behind Cops. We talked to Adam Schefter just a few moments ago, as we do every week here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. And the big news in the NFL right now is I can only say they did them dirty.
Yeah.
Right? The NFLPA did the players dirty. They have a responsibility to share news about the league with the players. And they were not only aware of it, but it sounds like they came up with this confidentiality agreement saying that it's like an NDA.
Yeah.
They were like,
yeah.
We know about this, but we're not going to share it with the players. And you, as a former player, Chew, this grinds your gears a little.
I would want them out. I can't believe Adam found someone that likes Gene Upshaw. You know who couldn't stand him that would just relentlessly go at him is Yurko. I might listen to Yurko today during his show because I guarantee he is going to go crazy about this. I mean, this is why you pay dues. This is why you pay dues into a union, because you want your union boss to have your back at all times. This guy's a fraud. He should be gone. My guess is he will be gone. There'll be enough angry players to want him out. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how they'd go about that, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised one bit, because this has gone on for years and years and years. And we knew Upshaw never had our back. Yeah, he got free agency, but they should have had free agency in the 60s because it was ridiculous that these players. Could you imagine negotiating with a team where you had no rights to go anywhere else? I mean, what the?
Right. You have no leverage.
You have no leverage. It's ridiculous. So to say Gene Upshaw gave the players free agency is a complete joke.
When you guys were going through this back in your time, what was the most contentious it ever got? And did you, again, even talking about your relationship with Gene Upshaw and your thoughts about him, did you ever feel like they don't have our back? They don't have our back.
Well, what I know about the whole concussion, because I know it. I know what was in the books. I knew what they knew. I know when they knew it. The public doesn't. It's a complete joke, how they hid that. I mean, it's just, it's tough because we're still involved with the union as a retired player because there's benchmarks that if the NFL, revenue stream hits them, then it trickles down to our pension. So we're still actively involved. And they've been better now, but when you read things like this, it gives you absolutely no faith in the guy that's running the show for the union.
So that's where I would come down on this. Is like, even if you were talking about the concussion information and what the league knew, and then ostensibly what the NFLPA knew about that whole situation, and they didn't share it with the players, but then it's been a while since then, right? That was a big story a few years back, and the league has continued to try to distance itself from the implications and the challenges of that whole space. But now this comes up, and it's like, hey, we thought y'all were being better. Now we have another thing where the league gets what the league wants, which is the owners don't want to pay guaranteed contracts. They saw the Deshaun Watson thing, and they were like, whoa, we don't want to do that anymore. So they have their little side conversations. But the minute that the NFLPA became aware of it, they had a responsibility to share that with the players, right?
Let me tell you how scummy they are, Jen, when it comes to me. And I've never taken a dime from the concussion lawsuit. I don't want your flipping money. I wanted to know what was in the books, and now that I know what's in the books. So they denied my concussion claim, says I don't. Well, under the CBA, retired players at a certain age are afforded care down the line, right? So not only did they say, no, you didn't have a concussion, they're supposed to afford you this care, X amount of dollars when you're 65 or when you ever need it. And they said, no, we can't give you that because of your concussions. So they talk out of both sides of their mouths. They're such frauds. I want nothing to do with them.
So it sounds like you're not surprised by this. You're not surprised.
Not one bit. It's like anything. It's like government. It's like big corporations. They're all liars. They're all liars. That's what they do for a living. They lie. So
yeah, and I feel like if you're a player, and Chewy obviously was, you feel like you're busting your hump, you're putting your livelihood, you're putting your body, you're putting your long-term health on the line day in and day out, and the hope is that the NFLPA is protecting you in some way, and they're supposed to be putting these measures in, and they're supposed to have your back at these negotiations, and they're supposed to be basically standing up for the players. So when you hear this, I got to believe that this just, again, I'm torn between, it sounds like, Chewy, you're saying, we kind of know this is how it goes. Yeah. We kind of know that they're in bed together. We kind of know that. Yeah. But then I also think that this would smack me upside the face. And I'd be like, man, no.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see. It is definitely a story that we will be following, and a lot of football fans might be paying attention to, just because I know that there are going to be players like Chewy who are frustrated by these developments, and it will be interesting to see. Look, we always talk about the negotiations, right? We always talk about whether it's field turf, whether it's the 18-game schedule, whether it's health insurance, or some of these things that Chewy has referenced. Like, the players are always trying to figure out what they can get from the league in exchange for more of their services. Yeah. So I think that now, perhaps with this information, the leverage has shifted a little bit to the players, right? There is a little bit of a leverage shift if you find out that your representatives have been having backdoor conversations with the league.
And, you know, the perception of NFL players in the eyes of a lot of people is they're stupid. Now, there are stupid ones. So I'm not going to argue that at all. And you didn't need to do that. I'll get to you next. There's a lot of smart guys. You know, there's a lot of smart guys that will come in and dumb it down and explain it to guys and you have to. But it shouldn't be like that, right, Jen? The top dog should be like, hey, I got your back. I guarantee this doesn't happen with UAW or the Teamsters Union or something, you know. They got their back. The clowns, they don't have your back. Josh, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Do you like when we're gone? Do you take your shirt off? Do you take your shoes off? Are you like Costanza, you know, eating cheese there?
No.
Do you like when we're gone?
It depends. It depends on your guys' behavior throughout the broadcast and how easy it is to communicate and get you guys to break.
Wait, how are we doing so far?
So far, you're good. We're locked in.
What's our behavior? What behavior are you talking about?
You guys
language?
You guys just get a little fast and loose, get distracted talking to people, eating food if there's some, you know, all the time we're not locked in.
Fair.
You guys have been locked in today.
Yes.
I do want to add to this conversation because I listened to the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, which discovered this 61-page document, and they kind of go through it. It was ruled that the NFL was engaging in collusive acts, but they had not colluded to keep salaries down. And a large reason it was hidden is two people that we here in Wisconsin recognize is J.C. Tretter had sent some text messages regarding Russell Wilson signing a contract that was non-guaranteed. And as far as they can determine, the reason this judgment and ruling was held from the Players PA were because of some of the colorful words J.C. Tretter had used in reference to Russell Wilson. So as much as there is the larger scale, what Chewy's talking about, and largely accurate with it not seeming like the union leaders are working on behalf of the players, it's also like just personal pettiness and personal, I don't want to look bad in front of everyone else, therefore no one else is going to know about this, which is not the use of a union. It is, it's like, it's counterproductive to the entire goal, and it's more about, I don't want to look bad in front of my peers.
So what you're saying, I want to make sure I'm following this. You're saying that the NFLPA entered into a confidentiality agreement with the NFL to suppress essentially J.C. Tretter's text messages that didn't speak kindly about Russell Wilson?
That is one of the largely held beliefs because there is no real other reason to point to.
You know why?
Why the union members wouldn't
share it with the players.
You know why? Because J.C. Tretter wants to be head of the union.
Yes, he wants to keep his job.
They're all scum. Even guys that you know, you can't trust any of them. And I had players back in our day that players like, you can't trust them because they're all in bed with the big dog. You know? They're all in bed. And
because you're saying to be the head of that has to be what, agreed upon by, I mean, does the NFL have a say in who?
We vote on it. We vote on the next president.
The players vote.
You know? Yeah. We had no faith whatsoever, you know, and I could list off some names of guys that we thought were scum who I played against.
Maybe we don't do that this morning.
Well, you know me, I love to call people out.
Airing the dirty laundry, yes.
But this is stuff you all knew. Now, I didn't think they'd take it this far, you know. I didn't think they would, which is... It blows my mind, but I'm not surprised one bit.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm coming down on this, right?
Yeah.
Because, Chew, of some of your experiences, you're not surprised by it, and yet this is still an egregious misuse of power and an abuse of the relationship that is expected between these two sides. Very interesting to see how this all shakes out. All right, Jen, Gabe, and Chewy rolls on right after this. Stick around. Second hour coming up right after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Uh-oh. Now we got a new accident. This is on 4394 northbound, just as you're coming out of the Mitchell interchange, and it is off on the left shoulder. So heads up with that. We're seeing delays right past that scene all the way up to about the Oklahoma Avenue area. Also dealing with this other accident on the off-ramp from 894 northbound to National Avenue. And so that's backing things up back in through the Hale interchange pretty much in all directions. Eastbound 94, watch for delays from Barker Road to about Brookfield Road, and then again from 84th Street through the Stadium interchange, and the westbound side's backing up out of the 16th Street area out to Mitchell Boulevard. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Chance for rain later on, a high of 77 at the lake, 83 inland tonight. A chance for rain or storms, partly cloudy with a low of 67. Weather is brought to you by Tsunami Express Car Wash. Drive a clean car every day. Tsunami Express Car Wash makes driving in style simple with unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Get your first car wash free when you sign up online at tsunamiexpress.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
Workplace stress is now a leading cause of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce feeling it more than ever. You can't escape work, but you can take small steps to take care of yourself. A walk, some sun, a favorite song, and therapy. Ongoing support to build resilience for whatever your day throws at you. Balance is tough, but getting help shouldn't be. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout today for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Make plans to stop by Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square. Experience Milwaukee's favorite beer garden, the perfect spot to meet up with friends in the Third Ward. Open Wednesday through Sunday with live music Thursday through Saturday. Good times and great vibes await at Third Ward Beer Garden.
Station updates, show clips, and your place to interact with us every single day just by scrolling through your feed. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ESPN Milwaukee.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Lammer Thursdays happen.
Yeah. Which is on ice.
Again?
We'll push it to tomorrow because it's supposed to rain.
Oh, you're talking about being under the weather.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he didn't get yes.
I thought you got him in trouble.
I thought he grounded his neighbor again.
No.
Your meatloaf is mushy, your salmon croquettes are oily, and your eggplant parmesan is a disgrace to this house.
Well, that's too bad, because I'm the only one who cooks around here.
Not anymore!
Although there is a possibility it was the corn that got me sick.
So I had the corn, but I did not get sick. My wife did not get. We had somebody over that ate it. He is not sick.
Okay.
You still need a cook?
Oh, yeah. Come on in, Frank.
You got Tefal? No. Follow me.
Because honestly, who's going to Visine you other than your wife? Do you think she's doing it to entertain herself sometimes?
Well, I got Visine, I know, by a restaurant here.
What?
Yes, totally.
No, Frank, you could take a break.
No breaks. I feel reborn. I'm like a phoenix rising from Arizona.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamora. Here's Jen Latta.
She wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her plan look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it,
We are here at the Pella showroom in Brookfield, just waiting for you to arrive. If you call in today and book your appointment, you'll be entered into a prize drawing every few hours. And we got Packers tickets, we got a Tundra Trio experience, Badgers tickets, tailgating, a Christian Yelich game-worn jersey, and more. Come visit us. We are just behind Cops off of Blue Mound Road at the Pella experience. So we were talking about the Milwaukee Brewers to start the show because they did an incredible job. They've been doing an incredible job, having a really great stretch. But sweeping the Dodgers at AmFam Field, well, that's a big frickin' deal. I saw a post that talked about how the Dodgers have so much salary on the injured list right now, and it's like equivalent to what the Brewers have for their entire salary. And that brings me to this conversation about Rob Manfred, who, Think what you will about Rob Manfred, but he is still the commissioner of baseball. And the most recent development is that he has been proposing a salary cap, Chew, for the league. And we talk all the time about the haves versus the have-nots. It is also a conversation that has spilled over into college football, as Deion Sanders yesterday at Big 12 Media Days was talking about how he believes college football should implement a salary cap. When it comes to Major League Baseball, do you want a salary cap?
Yes. How they do that, I have no idea, because how the NFL salary cap came about is really back in the day, all the big names, the Mars, the Hunts, all those iconic owners said, you know what, it'd probably be better for the league, not better for the big market teams, if we just share revenue. I don't see the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers doing that, so I don't know how they would come up with a salary cap, because those markets would have to take less money.
Correct. And which means that those players would take less money, right?
Yeah.
The whole reason, not the whole reason, but a big reason guys go to those teams is because they are giving you, dollars on the pennies, if you will, right? And we talk about how the Brewers are doing the best they can with the money that they have, but Rob Manfred is trying to sell the league, sell the players on, this would be good for baseball. We want parity. But the challenge is, there has been some parity. You have seen teams, Tampa Bay, you have seen Kansas City, you have seen teams like that win World Series competing with the big spenders. I agree. I like a salary cap. I also like a salary floor. I like demanding that you spend a certain amount of money so that you can't tank or try to bank, whatever the rationale is behind that. But I do think that it is going to be a tough sell, Chew, for the points that you made. Like, how do you get guys who are already making way more money than their counterparts with other teams to say, yes, for the good of the whole, for the good of everyone else, we will implement a salary cap, we will vote on a salary cap, and we will take less money?
I don't think there'll be a salary cap. I think there'll be a salary basement, where you have to spend X amount of dollars, like they have in the NFL. They always, every time they go to discussions with the new CBA, that's always the fight. The players want, 62%. The owners want to give up 60 in there. I don't think they can do a salary cap, because there's no way you're going to convince these owners to give up. You could maybe get them to give up some, which would create a floor, but never a cap. I just don't see it happening.
Do these owners want to need to outspend their competitors every single season? I got to believe that those owners would like to hold on to a little bit more of their money, right, Chew? I mean, you want to win a World Series, and obviously spending, and this is the same conversation we could have with college football right now, frankly, right? They talk about wanting parity in college football. The more teams, the better. They talk about expanding the playoff from 12 to 16. And the reason is, you'll have more fan bases engaged for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of it just, one loss, you're out of the playoff discussion, and therefore now you're out, you're disengaged.
Yeah.
But if Ohio State and Texas and Oregon are all spending $30 million, is it really parity?
No, but the problem there is the transfer portal, because you can have a great year at, let's say, Oklahoma State, where you're making X millions of dollars and you're a Heisman candidate. Now Ohio State comes in and says, you know what, we're going to go poach Oklahoma State,
it's like
who's a very good program,
who obviously decided to stay at Boise State, even though he was getting looks from some of the big, schools, some of the SEC programs.
So if you can do something with it, I think the transfer portal should only be one kick at the cap. You agree?
You can only go one time.
You can only transfer one time.
Yeah.
If they had that, then. I mean, you're still going to have the same teams, because your Texas Tech, I take that back. They're starting to spend a lot of money.
Yep.
Your Boston colleges are not going to spend $20 million on players, so they're never going to be able to compete for a national championship. As long as you're fine with that, with it being, let's say, 15 teams or 20 teams. I mean, you're never going to see a Cincinnati in there again in the playoffs. Especially the way with all the conferences. I mean, look at Wisconsin. the gauntlet they have to run this year. And who was it? Justin said it yesterday. I mean, how depressing is that? Your alum are sitting there going, well, I hope we win 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all NIL, and that's all transfer
I'm
portal.
using the college football as an example for, and the transfer portal obviously is that different dynamic. But when we talk about Major League Baseball as well, like the players who are already making, XXX number of dollars, they're not going to be in favor of a salary cap being implemented that would make them make X dollars, right? Like that's the whole thing is I'm looking at the salaries right now for Major League Baseball, and I don't know if you want to go total payroll or active. They offer both, but I bet you can name the top 5 teams in total payroll. Do you want to try to guess top 5 in Major League Baseball? Top 5 payrolls. Dodgers number 1 for total payroll. Mets are number 2 for total payroll.
Let's go.
Stay in New York.
New York Yankees.
Number 3.
I want to say the Cubs, but I don't think they're that deep into it.
Cubs are 12th on this list.
Angels?
Angels. No? 11th on this list.
Okay.
It's Philadelphia. Again, these
Philly.
are perennial playoff teams, right? Like, and then Toronto is number 5 on this list of total payroll on Spotrac. Now go to the bottom. Now, Milwaukee Brewers, shockingly, are not in the bottom 5 for payroll. But
Oakland?
I bet you can guess.
Oakland?
Yep, number 3 from the bottom.
Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay, number 4 from the bottom.
Kansas City?
No. Scrolling. They're right in the middle of the pack. Rockies, middle of the pack.
Is that small market? Are you calling Denver small market?
No, they're just the worst team in the league.
Oh, okay.
So he was assuming that the money explained that.
Okay.
I got Miami as the worst with a $67 million payroll. Chicago White Sox, no big surprise, 76. You mentioned the A's, you mentioned Tampa Bay, and then you've got Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh way down there on the list.
Well, let me ask you that, and I don't know baseball salaries all too well. Is there a middle class in baseball, or is it just bottom of the barrel and superstars?
Well, the Cubs are an example, right? I mean, as far as spending goes, that they're, according to this list on Spotrac, middle of the list. But they are the top team in the division right now. So, I guess when you hear Manfred proposing this idea of a salary cap, it sounds good as a Brewers fan to say, yeah, even things up. Make owners spend a bare minimum and also cap it so that these owners can't just throw money at these athletes so that teams like the Brewers can hold on to players. Yeah. Right? Because that's always been the thing is like you even said it the other day, how long do they have Miz? Turns out they got 6 years. But, you want to be able to, when Corbin Burns thing came up, we thought it was just an inevitability of when Corbin Burns would go to another team.
But even like Willie Adames, who didn't break the bank, right? He didn't break the bank. He wasn't, like a Shohei Ohtani, but the Brewers still couldn't afford him. What did he make, 140 million?
Whatever it was out of their league. So one of the things that is being talked about in this article, it is on The Athletic, talking about Rob Manfred wanting a salary cap in Major League Baseball, is that players want the salary floor. Owners are not going to give up a floor without a cap. And therefore, it'll sort of be that idea of, well, you want us to establish a floor so that teams can't spend, to the Miami Marlins, $68 million on their roster. And we want a cap. So do you see, when you've been through these negotiations, like that's how it's going to shake out, Shu? Like give a little, get a little?
Yeah. I mean, would free agency be affected? Because free agency in baseball is 7 years?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
Which is a long time. I just don't see how they're going to get it done because these big market teams that spend tons and tons of money. I mean, would you do it? I mean, most people wouldn't. Like, all right, let's make this fair, even though you're the top dog.
It's interesting that you say that because I was listening to Unsportsmanlike on my drive out here to Pella showroom in Brookfield, and Chris Canty was talking about what we mentioned at the beginning, Deion Sanders' comments about a salary cap in college football. And he was saying, now that these players are being paid, I would be hard-pressed, and he's speaking for himself, Chris Canty, to take money out of the players' pockets. And again, that's sort of the NCAA's fault for letting the snowball gather so much steam and be rolling the way it is. But I think of some of the top players who are making top dollars. I think of Ryan Williams at Alabama, who I have told you guys has a house in Nick Saban's neighborhood. He is neighbors with Nick Saban, right?
Yeah.
So that's how much money this kid, I think he's 18 years old, is making as a wide receiver at Alabama. You think he's going to take less money?
No.
If college football implements a salary cap, you think he all of a sudden is going to be like, wait a minute, I was making this, but now because you want parity in the league, do you think that programs like Ohio State are going to go, yeah, we'll scale back.
Yeah.
We'll stop spending the money we've been spending. I think they find other ways to spend it. And then it goes back to being under the table.
And he would leave for Auburn if Auburn was playing more money than Alabama, right? I don't know. That's why you got to, should these players be signing contracts? And having the contracts enforced. We all heard about the Iowa situation where the kid went to Iowa, emptied the piggy bank, and then bolted.
I just think, to me, and I know that this conversation will be ongoing, but it's one of those things where, man, the toothpaste is already out of the tube.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Putting it back
dialing it back. Getting big spenders to all of a sudden go, you know what, that does sound good.
Yeah.
We're going to knock it
I feel bad for the MAC and North Dakota State because if a kid has an outstanding year there, he ain't going to be there next year. He's going to the Big Ten. So I just think you start with limiting the transfer portal because it's amazing how, having a son in the biz, how they recruit now. A lot of times, a lot of schools don't even deal with high school kids, because why recruit a 5-star that's going to come to your program for a year or two and then go somewhere else? You're recruiting them for someone else.
Well, it requires so much development, right? And look, we've been bopping all over the place, but one of the tenets of baseball is there are teams that refuse to draft pitchers. Their thought is, let everybody else draft the pitchers, let them develop the pitchers, and we'll go nab them in free agency. Right?
That's kind of the Yankees. Yeah, the Yankees and all the big market,
It's just fascinating across the board. So anyway, Rob Manfred, Commissioner of Baseball, is trying to campaign for a salary cap. Look, by all accounts, there's going to be a lockout for Major League Baseball in December of 2026. So I think that will be the time when all of this sort of tries to get hammered out because that's when the labor deal expires. 800-990-3776. What are your thoughts on a salary cap being implemented in Major League Baseball? I got to think that most Brewers fans think it would level the playing field, but I got to think from a reality standpoint, it would be hard to get some of these teams and owners to agree to it. Let us know what you think. 800-990-3776. We will be right back from the Pella showroom in Brookfield. We are here all day long on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Northbound 894, we do still have this accident on the off-ramp to National Avenue, backing things up to the Hale Interchange. An accident northbound on 4394 coming out of the Mitchell Interchange is off on the left shoulder, so a little bit of a heavy ride heading back through the Mitchell. And then on southbound 43, backing up from just before Good Hope Road all the way down past Silver Spring. Traffic is brought to you by Third Ward Beer Garden. Experience Milwaukee's favorite beer garden this summer. Open Wednesday through Sunday with live music Thursday through Saturday. Good times and great vibes await at Third Ward Beer Garden. And check out the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, mostly sunny with the partly cloudy skies, then chance of rain later on. A high of 77 at the lake, 83 inland. Tonight, a chance of rain or storms, otherwise partly cloudy, a low of 67. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN. It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. This summer, I'm getting relief from the hot sun whenever I need it with my motorized retractable awning from Comfort Awnings. Sensors are also available that detect strong wind and rain to extend or retract your awning. They even protect against UV radiation so you can safely enjoy the outdoors all summer long. Family owned and located in Burlington, Comfort Awnings expertly installs custom awnings that fit your home and style. Right now, you can receive $250 off all awnings and screens. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com.
It's Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Upgrade your industrial supply services with Lakeland Supply, your trusted ISO certified partner for custom packaging, shipping supplies, janitorial, and safety supply solutions. With over 40 years of industry excellence, Lakeland Supply is a proven one-stop source with over 95% of their products made in the U.S., and they treat their customers like family. Personalized service with a national reach. That's what Lakeland Supply does. Visit lakelandsupply.com to discover how they can make your business better.
Hey, Monica. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Joe. To what do we owe the honor?
Don't you have CEO-type things you need to be doing?
Or Joe might be here because he's been doing some CEO-type things that he thinks we should know about.
Bingo! You guessed it, Monica.
What do you need us to do, Joe?
Well, I'm here because I want to present an idea to you.
Cool. What is it?
I've been talking with finance companies and was able to make a deal for 18-month financing at 0% interest with a $750 or more purchase.
And your idea was to offer 18-month 0% financing to all of our customers?
It's subject to credit approval, but yeah, that's what I was thinking.
How long will we be able to do it?
From July 1st to July 31st.
0% will let people buy diamonds that were on their bucket list.
I know what I'm buying.
I'm going on a shopping spree. I'm going to have more jewelry than the Queen of England.
So you like the idea?
We don't like it. We love it.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
At Citizens Bank, community banking is you, growing your business with a partner who gets it. It's you, buying your first home with a lender who makes it easy. It's you, building a future with savings that work just as hard as you. And it's us, working together to strengthen our community. Because at Citizens Bank, community banking means you plus us. Visit us at citizensbankwi.bank. Citizens Bank is member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I'm saying if we collectively, all the people in their cars, all the people listening on the YouTube stream, all the people listening this morning, if we all do it together, there's power in prayer, friends.
Yes, there is. Blessed be Father, for I played man.
On 94.5 ESPN.
The open road is calling your name, and the ride begins at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. This July, you could burn some major rubber on the custom Harley-Davidson of your dreams in the Fire Up Your Fantasy motorcycle giveaway. Just play with your rewards card all July for entries. Thursday's drawings for extra cash and reward play. Fire Up Your Fantasy is only at Potawatomi. More information is available online. Must be 21 years old and a rewards member to play. Every once in a while, people try to rebrand things. You think, like, if I give it a cool new name, all of a sudden it will be in vogue. And Joshy and I were talking about this yesterday. Have you guys seen this conversation that people are having about micro-retirements?
No, never heard of it.
A micro-retirement is basically a 2-week work stoppage. You just decide, I'm not going to work for 2 weeks, and you don't respond to emails, and you don't do... isn't that just a vacation, Chew? Don't we refer to mini retirements as vacation? If you walk away from work for a week or 2 weeks, am I missing something here? Did vacations need a rebrand?
This sounds like millennials trying to work the system again. Josh, are you a millennial?
I am, but this is actually a Gen Z.
No. All you had to say is I am.
The article,
I didn't need an explanation.
The article details quite in depth on how this is a younger generation, not a millennial thing.
Why? What's the younger generation than millennials?
Gen Z.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah, and now they're starting all over again, right? Once we got through X and Y and Z, now they're Alpha. We're at Generation Alpha.
They're just not grinders.
Okay, so let's have a conversation about that, because the grind can affect your mental health, right? We know that. Like, these people who feel like they can't stop, they're go-go-goers, that can affect your ability to just do your job at a high level. You got to take breaks, but that's why companies offer paid time off or vacations or, sick leave, all of those types of things.
Yeah, but you should not be complaining about this in your 20s, okay? This is something you complain about in your 40s and 50s, okay? What's the worst job I've ever had was tobacco. Okay?
Wait, you're going to have to be more specific. What
Working
do you mean
tobacco.
the worst job you ever had was
Cutting, spearing, stacking, hanging in the barn, in dirt, 10 hours a week. That's grind. You didn't bitch. You just did it, okay, because you had to do it. Now, I don't want to single you out, Josh. Toughest job you've ever had? Waiter?
No, I worked as a car detailer.
You ever work on a farm?
I worked third shift in a bottle-making factory with no AC.
I
feel anytime third shift gets brought up,
you get street
you're
cred.
a grinder.
So Josh, she's a grinder. But, I mean, come on. If you're sitting in an
Painting
office and you're
houses.
25, don't sit there and go, my life is so hard and I need 2 weeks off.
Well, but you have kids, Chew. You recognize that, like, these younger
And they
generations
They do.
Well, I was not expecting
They could not do what I did when I grew up
Why is that?
because they're not grinders.
But don't you have a role in that as their
I
parents?
did. I'll take 10%.
10% of the blame. Look, I will agree that, like, if I ask my kid who's 16 to do some of the things that my dad asked us to do, chores around the house, lawn work, things like that, he balks. He'll be like, what?
Yeah.
You want me to pull weeds? Don't we have a guy for that? So there is part of it that's like, we have tried to give our kids a different upbringing than we had, but by deviating from some of those things that our parents made us do, we've made them a little softer.
Yes, we have. It's my fault. And it's more of because they won't do it right. All right. So when I cut my one property, it takes me about 6 hours to do. And the biggest pain is I have to weed whack 1,200 feet of fence. But they won't do it right. That's the problem. They'll hit like every other fence post and there'll be long stuff there. So for me, in order to just grind them all the time, it's just easier for me to do the work because it'll be done right.
What would have happened when you were a kid if your dad made you go weed whack the fence and you didn't do it well enough? How would he have handled it?
He'd say, go do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, go do it again. Yeah, and we had to do all that stuff as kids, mowing lawns and, we had chores every night. Someone had to sweep the floor. Someone had to dry the dishes. My dad's reason for never having a dishwasher, I got 6 of them.
Kids.
It's just, and we are, and I think we overcompensate, obviously, because our lives were much more difficult. So we don't want their lives to be as difficult as we had it, but I think we've taken it too far.
Mm-hmm.
I fired one of my kids, idiot. At my wife's shop, I'm like, you know what Roundup is?
Yeah, well, the weed stuff?
Well, there's a white bottle and a green bottle. The green bottle, you can spray weeds within the grass because it's okay. It won't kill the grass. The white bottle kills everything, right? So I gave him 3 bottles of the green ones. What's he do? He goes through all the green and then uses all the white. Killed all the grass. I lost it. I fired him. He started laughing at me. And he said, well, you have to drive me home. So then I had to rehire him and then just kept yelling at him. But that's what you got to deal with, so.
Simple reading could have maybe alleviated that issue with the old green bottle versus white bottle. So we're talking about micro retirements, mini retirements. It's a planned temporary career break taken to pursue personal interests, recharge, or explore new possibilities. I got to tell you, I don't know that I'm at this point in my career, this level of success. If I was out here planning micro retirements every few months
Well, let me ask you
during
this.
the formative years.
Where are you at, right now, because your 5 months of hell are about to start? Do you get anxiety?
For sure.
You do?
Yeah. You know the Sunday scaries? You ever heard of that phrase?
No.
So the Sunday scaries are what people who typically work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, experience on Sunday because you've just enjoyed your weekend. But, depending on the person, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you start getting those, go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
You deal with that. I don't know who you're trying to kid over here. You
Yeah,
sit
but
there
mine
and go.
goes to 7 because I'm drinking wine at noon.
And then he's like, I'm going to bed in 15
doesn't
minutes
hit
anyway.
me, yeah.
So the Sunday scaries are a thing that a lot of people experience before the work week. Well, I obviously work a hellish schedule in the fall. So probably like as soon as the calendar turns to August.
Yeah, you start.
That's when I start getting twitchy.
Do you get TMJ at all? Like grinding of the teeth? I used to get that like right before we went to training camp, and it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It was sort of a way that the stress was manifesting for you?
When you sleep, you grind because you're under stress. But I carried that for like 10 years after I played.
But here's
after I was done.
Here's what the people who are proponents of micro-retirement would argue, Chew. If you're taking the mini breaks, maybe you don't get the TMJ. Maybe you don't have the anxiety. Maybe you don't have the stress because you have alleviated it during these mini retirements / micro-retirements, which I still think are vacations. But it's just interesting that like when we talk about the differences in the generations, these kids are now prioritizing, oh no, this workload is going to stress me out where it will affect my mental health. It will affect my physical health. So preemptively, I'm going to get ahead of this and I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that sort of respects it. Like, I don't love it. I don't love that I didn't have the wherewithal or the foresight to do it. But I kind of respect this idea of like, man, Chew, work is work.
Yeah.
You know, and like at some point, you can't take it with you.
But I think kids' drives are different than what ours was. I mean, our drive was, a lot of us were money. I don't know. I have a couple sons that really don't care. You know?
Is that because you have all the money?
I try kicking them off scholarship. They just won't go away. But you know what I mean? They're like, it's fine. I don't know. Their drives are different, I think, than ours.
Yeah.
So...
It's funny, in our attempt to protect our kids from the traumas and challenges that we experienced as kids, we may have done them a disservice.
Yeah, no, we're...
You know, we may have pushed the envelope a little too
But you
far
can't
in the
let
other
them know that because then they'll use it. Like, why don't they fear us like we used to fear our parents?
Well, I'm pretty sure corporal punishment played a big role in that.
Probably had something to do with it.
My dad starts unbuckling his belt. Right?
Oh, boy.
Things are getting a little dicey around here. We'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Have you heard about this concept of micro-retirement, mini-retirements, where this newer generation is saying, this is a little too much for me. I'm going to take a little break. Just like Chew, walking off the set here as we're wrapping up this segment of the show. Oh, they're going to golf. I see what's happening here. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. Maybe we'll get a little golf action on the stream if you're watching on YouTube. Stick around.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Southbound 43, just past Silver Spring. Looks like we got a crash that is blocking the left lane. So big delays stretching all the way back past Good Hope Road. We've got eastbound 94 backing up a bit from 84th Street through the Stadium interchange. Westbound slowing from 20th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Still working on that accident northbound on 894 on the off-ramp to National. It's got backups all the way to the Hale. And we've also got this crash coming out of the Mitchell interchange going northbound on 4394. That one is off on the left shoulder. Other than that, we've got, of course, our usual delays on 41 as you're making your way down from Appleton Avenue all the way down to Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. John Neal and his team know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net to learn more. That's nealgroup.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, mostly sunny skies to partly cloudy. Chance of rain later on, a high of 77 at the lake, 83 inland. Tonight, chance of rain or storms, otherwise partly cloudy, a low of 67. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Up the first half of the season with the Brewers as they take on the Nationals July 11th through the 13th. Kick the weekend off with the Crew's annual celebration of black culture at the Negro Leagues tribute game on Friday the 11th. Then, your next can't-miss giveaway arrives on Saturday the 12th when the first 25,000 fans will get a 90s throwback jersey presented by CBS 58. Grab your seats at Brewers.com.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. When Tri-City National Bank decided to optimize their print output strategy, they needed a resource with the expertise to recommend a solution. CIO Robert Prang.
And James helped us with that analysis of what our print consumption was and what we were doing.
The outcome of the James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services recommendation?
We ended up reducing down to about 97 total printers and copiers from 197.
The impact on your print output?
We eliminated over 500,000 pages a month of output that we figured out we really didn't need.
Month after month, that adds up to savings and value.
Oh, tons of value. Those numbers add up even when it's only a penny or so per page.
Managed Print Services from James Imaging Systems. AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. To learn more, visit jamesimaging.com.
Is that knee, hip, or shoulder pain not getting any better? Maybe you're stuck in a cycle of steroid shots and now talking about surgery. Well, before you head down that road, you need to check out my friends at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Brad Nortman, and I've got to tell you about how QC Kinetics is revolutionizing medicine with their regenerative and cellular treatments. Using their advanced cellular therapy, QC Kinetics is helping your body heal itself. And don't just take my word for it. The results from their patients is off the charts. 92% of patients report satisfaction with their results. In fact, most people that come in for their free consultation ask if they can just start right away. It doesn't cost a thing for that second opinion with QC Kinetics. You owe it to yourself to live a pain-free life, and you owe it to yourself to check out QC Kinetics. The results could be life-changing. Call QC Kinetics today at 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
The open road is calling, and the ride begins at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. This July, you could burn rubber on a custom Harley-Davidson in the Fire Up Your Fantasy motorcycle giveaway. Play with your rewards card all July for entries. Thursday drawings for extra cash and reward play. Fire Up Your Fantasy, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
How are you feeling, big guy, about the MRI?
It's starting to hurt now. I think I have mental issues. I really do.
Well,
gonna have to clip that
yeah,
for me?
that's just, I mean,
just hold on to it?
I know, I don't think there's anything wrong. It's just, I think it's something in my brain's telling me
Something is wrong, buddy.
On 94.5 ESPN.
At the Pella Experience, and as our show gets close to wrapping up, we've got the next gang here at Pella with us. Jason Wilde over there. I see Jesse Nelson over there, and we've got Mark Tauscher sitting here with us. And listen, we just had a great conversation about micro-retirement. So let's talk about it here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. It is sponsored by BetterHelp. Mental health is health. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout for 10% off your first month of therapy. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Tausch, you were just saying.
Yeah, right there, big fella.
Yeah, I got a little
rattling that kid.
I got out of the chair so quick to go hit the golf balls.
I saw you draining 90-foot putts and everything else.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are having so much fun. So we were just talking about this whole micro-retirement, mini-retirement, I call them vacations, what do I know, concept that the younger generation is embracing. And Tausch, you said, like, look, yeah, we're seeing it, but there's nobody to blame but us.
No, I was listening to 94.5 on our way down to the Pella Experience Center here in Brookfield, and I was laughing, as I do all the time when I'm listening to Chewy, discussing firing your kid and then forced to rehire your kid because you had to give him a ride home, which was great. But, yeah, I was texting you, Jen. It's like, yeah, we're sitting here wondering, like, why is this happening? You know, why am I having a hard time getting my kid to get the garbage can in from the end of the road? It's not his fault. It's our fault. I think as parents, we've allowed that to happen because there's a myriad of reasons, but I think part of it is, you know, we want our kids to have everything. And I think in that process, you said this right as we were pulling in, you know, have we done them a disservice? I don't know the answer to that. I think there's a happy medium. I'm sure all of us, as we were growing up, probably went through some things that were like, I don't want my kid to do that. And I think we've probably erred on the other side of that probably a little bit more than maybe we should have.
Is it, Tausch, you think it's just we complain a lot being former? Because you picked up the torch after me. I was leaving, you were coming in. we complained so much.
But that's how we rallied around each other.
Is that?
I think, linemen, linemen, we like being miserable.
Yes.
We like having, like when things are going really good, we're kind of looking over our shoulder and be like, what's going to happen?
I assume you wouldn't have taken the gig if that wasn't a part of your DNA.
Well,
right? Because that's a tough job.
It is a tough job. And but I think there's you appreciate it, but you realize, and we were just talking about Marco. Marco would always tell me, hey, man, we're 2 or 3 pass sets away from putting on, one of those vests and going out and working concrete and the hard.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. Tight ends, you could struggle. You could move to O-line. Now,
yes.
Granted, that probably ain't going to happen at the NFL level, but college, once you're a lineman, there's nowhere else to go. You're not going to go play wide out. You're out.
They're a weird group because I tried to get in the group, but you guys would only let outsiders in so far.
Doses,
right?
Or doses.
You'd let me go. You'd let me go to a Thursday meal.
Yep.
Right? When you go out.
Play a little golf.
But they wouldn't let you all the way in. Because I always said, they're like cattle. They just kind of walk around, and they're like, the cowboy comes over, and let's go. And they're like, whoa. Let's go over to the chutes. Let's do chutes, mag, and boards.
You think we want to go do that?
No one does. It's absolutely miserable.
Everybody has to be miserable together.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that feels like there has been criticism for this dynamic, for this idea, because we were never allowed that luxury. Right? I can't even imagine having a conversation with my dad at any point growing up and being like, you know what, Dad, you've been riding me pretty hard. Right? We've been working really hard, whether it was running or whether it was academics or whether it was the volunteering that he made me do because he knew that it would look good on a college resume, which BTW, I'm hearing, doesn't do the trick anymore. Like, you got to be so far and away better than all of the other. I know it's a whole nother thing, a whole nother conversation. But if I had said to him, like, I need 2 weeks off. I need 2 weeks to just go be a kid. He'd have been like, are you drunk?
Yeah.
Have you been sucking on the Bartles and James in the garage refrigerator? The answer would have been yes, but I digress. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he would have, there was no way, there was no time to take a break. You had to grind in order to get where they perceived, and that was part of the way he was raised, right? Where his dad had him out painting garages and painting fences and stuff like that.
Joshie's big painter, he said. You kind of called Joshie soft.
As in, like, art painting or wall painting?
No, he said he was, like, painting, like,
houses, outdoor houses.
House painting, yeah.
That's not that tough. You get a nice white little whatever you
Jen,
wear.
I guess the question I have is if we look back at it, and I think we've all had success at certain levels professionally, would we have had the success we've had if we didn't go through that? And I know for a fact, I can only speak for myself, no way. Nope. My dad drove me hard. And without that, I don't know what I'd be doing now. Correct. I know it wouldn't be doing this.
Correct. Because I know, my kids, when they were being recruited and stuff like that, these coaches use a term called, he's a trust fund kid. Which means
club kid.
Which means they're not going to work as hard. They're not grinding. Look, if I didn't play football, I could tell you this. I'm not going to BC. And if I didn't have football, probably going to the community college down the road and not doing what I do now. It's like you have no choice. My parents didn't have any money. We had 6 kids. My dad made nothing. Not paying for college. When I went to college, my dad, and I remember I had trash bags with my clothes, and he opened the door and like, hey, we'll see you. Good luck. Now we go spend 3 days with the kids, moving them in until they say you can go home now.
Soft launch, if you will. The hard launch versus the soft launch. I do think the whole thing is fascinating, and I think as parents, like, we have the benefit of hindsight. We see how things were for us. We have tried to give our kids a quote-unquote better life. But one of my favorite quotes, guys, is do not handicap your children's development by making their life soft, by making their life easy, rather. And there's a part of me that knows that we have done that, whether or not we mean to do it, whether or not our heart is in the right place, we have their best interest in mind. It is a different generation, and I could see my kid. Look, there are kids that I know that take mental health days at school. Things are too hard, they're too overwhelmed, rather than, and look, I want to be very clear. I do a lot of work in this space, the mental health space at ESPN. We do a lot of stories on people who have taken their own lives. For a lot of us, we worry about that being the alternative to giving them the break, to giving them the mental health break. So, like, there's a part of me that, like, respects it. But to your point, Tausch, I wonder if they will ever reach the heights, reach the levels of success that our generation did because of the way we were pushed.
It's just really hard to find the balance of it. And I think we probably were on the other side of that teeter-totter, and now it's probably the other way, and you're trying to always find that, and I think very few people find it.
The best advice I ever got, I can't remember if it was for Andy Reid or it might have been a coach, he said, give your kids everything they need, not everything they want. You know, which is tough to do sometimes because you want to spoil your kids.
You do, but there's another piece of advice that someone said. You fly first class or your kids will.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't get it.
If you're not going to fly, if you're going to go sit in the back of the plane, if you have money, go fly in first class because otherwise your kids will definitely be flying first class.
Yeah.
It's basically, you can take care of your kids, but make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Sure.
The old
put
the mask on first before you put on other people's masks. Tausch, it is always great chatting with you. We appreciate you hanging out.
I see your Bucks hat, and I don't know how much Bucks talk you guys have had today. Russell Westbrook. I don't want him here.
No, he can't shoot.
He has a hard time finishing layups. Great athlete, still doing things. I don't think that's...
You want Beal or Paul?
I don't want Paul either. I don't know what I want. I just want Giannis to be here.
Whatever it takes?
Yep.
If Giannis went to him and said, sign Chris Paul.
I got to do it.
Because of the Giannis factor. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to have you hang out because I want to talk Brew Crew with you. We got the last segment of the show coming up here, and I want to hear your take on what is going on with the Milwaukee Brewers. And if they still need a bat, which is what a lot of people are saying, or if they can do incredible things with what they have. That's next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Stick around.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee's Theater District. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, artist in residence, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow-up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
This is Jim. Jim's a contractor. Hi. Jim can't really talk or do much to grow his contracting business because Jim's buried under invoices, schedules, and service requests. Right, Jim? Right. Jim needs help. Help! Jim needs Service Titan, the all-in-one software for the trades. We've made it easier than ever for contractors to free themselves from day-to-day paperwork. Oh, wow. Switch your current solution for Service Titan, the best software in the trades, today. Learn more at servicetitan.com.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At IKEA Oak Creek, we love helping you make your home uniquely yours. And now we are making it even more rewarding with new rewards from IKEA Family. With rewards, members earn points on every purchase and extra points for things like attending qualifying IKEA Family events, utilizing IKEA planning services, and much more. Then use your points for great rewards, including discounts on purchases and services, and of course, delicious food. Did somebody say meatballs? IKEA is making it more rewarding than ever to be part of our family. Not a member yet? Sign up for free at IKEA.com/US and start earning.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, has college football gotten a little sleazy? Where you can recruit a little? No, I'm saying from the standpoint, it used to be. That was good.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
Yates brings home the pitch. And a ground ball through the left side, into left field for a base hit. Frelick trots home, and Jackson Churio has walked off the Dodgers here this afternoon in Milwaukee.
From behind victory for the Brewers yesterday afternoon against the Dodgers. They get the sweep of the Dodgers, and it is really a good time to be a Milwaukee Brewers fan. Guys, their record since June 1, 22-12. It's third best in Major League Baseball, tops in the National League. Tausch, you tell me, we're talking about a playoff run. I mean, they are obviously exceeding all expectations this year. We're talking about a playoff run. We would love for there to be a deep playoff run. Is it kosher? Is it okay to be mentioning the WS, or does that seem like, whoa, please, pump the brakes, relax, let's just enjoy the ride?
No, I think you can enjoy the ride and still have that. I think one of the things from my end, and I said this last year before the Brewers started their playoff run, I think we have this almost lowered expectation because the payroll differential. Like, can you imagine having a conversation with the Packers and say, "Can we talk about the Super Bowl?" It's like, yeah, that's the reality of life. And the Brewers are now, and Jeff Passan joined us earlier on our show this week, and he's like, the Brewers are good. This isn't Tampa, where, no offense to Tampa, but there's no history. Mm-hmm. Expect more, because I do sense that. A lot of Brewer fans are like, well, it's just not fair. The Dodgers' payroll is 3 times ours. And all of that stuff is a fair point to bring up. But you have great pitching. You have the youngest, hottest star in baseball. And your bats are going. Whether or not they make a big splash play, I don't know. But, man, I'd love to see it. And absolutely we should be thinking big things with the Brewers.
Wilde and Tausch is coming to you live from the Pella Experience here in Brookfield. We are just off Blue Mound Road. They'll be talking about that all afternoon here on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee.
Southbound 40.